Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Okay, so now we have Dr. Ferrer who's calling in, and I'm very excited to have him. He's one of my very favorite doctors. He's a pulmonologist. As a matter of fact, I have a cousin who came down from North Carolina. One reason, especially, was because she has had a real problem with sinus conditions. She coughs, just like we've heard people cough. And I said, you have to see Dr. Ferrer. And although he is absolutely smashed with patients, they're going to squeeze her in. And I'm so happy. So good morning, Dr. Ferrer.
Good morning, Anita.
Thank you for calling
Thank you for
us.
having me.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure. And you are so very busy, but I'm glad you're going to take my cousin because I know everything you've talked about is exactly what she has. Cough, cough, cough.
Oh, thank you, Anita.
And, she's been to a lot of doctors, Dr. Ferrer, and they just, they give her all sorts of, medication. They tell her this, but I know that you'll figure out what's wrong with her.
Oh, thank you, Anita. Thank you. What happens with people that have chronic cough overall is that in the last 50 years, Anita, medicine has specialized a lot, and it's good, but for common conditions like cough, flu, and sinus problems, probably the over-specialization, the over-use of specialties have created a problem because cough, it is usually the result of issues that come from the breathing system, from the sinuses, from the mouth, from the ears, from the stomach, and unfortunately, all these organs, they're being claimed by different specialties. So what we do in our clinic is putting the whole thing together and looking at the patient as a one unit and going after the most common reasons and finding the specific treatment. And that is, I think, the essence of what we do.
Let's talk about a pulmonologist and what you absolutely, I don't know if I've asked this of you on the radio, but I'm going to do it again. Tell me why you wanted to be a pulmonologist and tell me about the intricacies of one.
That's an excellent question. I grew up in Cuba, and when I was studying medicine, I always was captivated by the breathing system, by the way we breathe, and because I'm an avid reader and I love history. In life, through centuries, different cultures equated life with the breathing system, others with the blood, and breathing was always there as a spiritual connection with the system of life and the universe in general. So to me, that was always a question that I have in my heart. When I started to look into the system, I realized that was exactly what I want to do. I studied pulmonary medicine in Cuba, and because of the difference in system, I came here and I redo the same. Again, I studied critical care medicine alongside because pulmonary medicine goes along with intensive care unit, doctor. So, and that is where I have spent the last years working in pulmonary and in critical care. I love what I do. I think it's an amazing system. It's an amazing job the pulmonologists they are doing around the world, helping people, and it's something that I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and you do such a great job of it. And as a matter of fact, actually, you were the founder of the Cleveland Clinic Cough Clinic. So coughs are pretty serious, and I know that I can be in a room, and inevitably could be a room with 5 people, and someone has this little cough. It's not a hard cough because it's not that they're sick. It's just they have this little cough, and I said, "Oh, you having a problem?" "Oh, yeah, I have this cough," and it's okay. The doctor says, "All right, it just doesn't go away." Why doesn't it go away? What's causing that cough?
Usually chronic cough, the top reasons for chronic cough, the number one field, smoking related. Once the smoking, it is excluded as a reason for the cough. And by the way, cough that is related to smoking, it is treatable, is controllable, and I can actually be treated to stop it. So nobody should be coughing it is treatable and we can fix it. So the number one still related to smoking. Number two, one of the most common reasons today, it is sinuses related. We spend a lot of time indoors. The air conditioning is sucking in all the electrodes and the things that we need for normal breathing, and they're drying our nasal passages, and that creates dripping, postnasal dripping, and cough. The other one, it is related to acid reflux, which is linked to the changes that we have in our diet during the last 70, 80 years. The other one that is fairly common is related to asthma. Asthma is still very common. There is a variant of asthma that we call it just like that, cough variant asthma. So those are probably the top 4 to 5 most common reasons of cough. And if we look and we exclude out of that group lung cancer or permanent damage to the lungs, like a scar tissue in the lungs, probably these top 4 reasons for cough, ANITA should be responsible for more than 90% of the reasons for people coughing.
I want everyone to know, if you've just tuned in, we're talking with Dr. Gustavo Ferrer, Ferrer, and he has his office now in Aventura. If you want an appointment, the phone number is 954-482-4747. Again, 954-482-4747. If you want to get to their website, it's ICEHealthNet.com. ICE, that really stands for, but I'm just going to tell you, Intensive Care Experts, but the website is ICEHealthNet.com, and they are in Aventura, and I suggest that stop going from one doctor to another, go to a real expert, just as my cousin's going to do, because it's it really saddens you, I think, if all of a sudden, sitting there and it isn't just like it's like, I mean, it's horrible. And she feels so, I'm sorry, I'm quite an actress, aren't I? And, it's really upsetting. I'm sure when they come in, do you ask them to cough? When someone comes in and they say to you, Dr. Ferrer, oh, I have this bad cough. So you say, well, why don't you cough? Or can you tell by just looking inside their throat what their problem is?
Well, I look at the whole patient, but I do go in details of the characteristic of the cough. I want to know how often they are coughing, if they have cough during the day or if they have cough during the night or all through the day. The reason for cough that they are more often during the night, and the reason for cough that they are more often during the daytime. So the association, the time relationship is always important to us to know exactly when the people are coughing. We also want to know how severe the cough is. We want to know if it's the tickle behind the throat that is producing the cough, or is something else that is triggering the cough, like a very aggressive cough. So we want to know every single detail around the cough. And if the patient, people with chronic cough, because we spend a lot of time with them in the interview process and the physical exam, eventually in the room they will cough, and I see the characteristics. And by the sound of the cough, we can actually imply many things. They are bronchial cough, they are cough that they are from the sinuses, and we can, by hearing the way people cough, we can have a really good picture of the way the origins of that cough. So we try to look into the entire patient, and you are absolutely right, ANITA. There's a lot of studies that show that I have tons of patients, research patients and non-research patients, patients that lost their job because they were coughing, and they were front desk,
right.
and bank tellers, that they could not hold the job because they were coughing the whole day. I have other people that they retire, they develop this nasty cough, and they stop socializing, going with their friends to restaurants, because when they open the door of the restaurant, the cold wind of the restaurants actually trigger the cough, which is fairly common for people with chronic cough. So they stop socializing, and they end up depressed, and they went to their doctor, and they were treated for depression, but actually the main issue has been the cough in the first place. So I have patients that we've been able to control the cough and take them off antidepressants or many of the medications that they were getting, because the essence of the problem was that they were not able to socialize, not even speak on the phone, because the cough was interrupting the conversation all the time.
And the worst thing is I go to a lot of theater, and I hate to sit next to someone who coughs during the play.
Well, that is absolutely right. I have an ear for that. So we go to theaters and we go to plays, and you can hear the people coughing, and it's sad for the patient as well, because I hear the other side, how embarrassed
I know.
People feel when they go to theaters and places and they're coughing, and you know, it is sad, but by the same token, it's entirely treatable. There's a number of places in the whole country that they're growing this kind of system of integrated approach to cough. One of the first places was in Massachusetts General Hospital, and Dr. Irwin, who is today the editor of the most important, most prestigious journal, medical journal that we have for pulmonary medicine. There's another one in Mayo Clinic. Just recently, Hopkins opened another clinic. I happen to know the Mayo Clinic. We worked together when I was at the Cleveland Clinic. We worked together for years, building the different experience of the things that we do. It is something that is growing tremendously. It is, ANITA, statistically speaking, is the third most common reason for going to the hospital in America.
Huh.
And the most striking statistic for last year is that we, Americans, we spend $7.8 billion cash going to the pharmacy for over-the-counter remedies, and 90+% of the time we did not find solution on those.
Wow.
It is striking. It is striking.
That really is. Those are some figures. Well, and I love what you're talking about, but I have to tell everybody that even though Dr. Ferrer is happily married, I'm going to tell you that he's in my house every morning. Not really. But the reason he's there is because he taught me about how to make a shake in the morning. Not make me shake, but how to make a shake. And I'm just being a little funny here because it's really important. We had breakfast, his wife and I and Dr. Ferrer had breakfast, and we were just talking about why. I said, what do you have? And he was telling me about he uses, of course, almond milk. I didn't use almond milk. I always had skim milk. Okay. And then he uses the frozen berries. And then he uses yogurt. And then he puts in the greens. And I have to tell you, everybody, I couldn't wait for you to be on the radio show because I have this pretty much. I have it in the morning. I hardly eat lunch because I make it really fills up. And I have lost weight. And I love it. When I look at, I take a frozen banana. I have all this good food in me. I mean, I think of you every day.
Thank you, ANITA. I happen to teach that to my patients very frequently because this is one of the reasons that people cough a lot. We know that milk produces increase in the phlegm, and the phlegm produces increase in the cough. So we teach those tricks to our patients every day. Right.
And so almond milk, I always get natural. And I make a list of I actually add flaxseed. I now get beets, and I put beets in there. And my blood pressure is lower. I mean, you are Mr. Miracle Man for me. And I love the fact that you live the life that you talk about, because there are so many doctors who are overweight. I don't think they still smoke. They used to. And they're trying to help you. Well, but you're a perfect specimen to help someone. You're trim, you're enthusiastic, and it's just such a pleasure knowing you.
Thank you, ANITA. Thank you. These are very simple things and ideas that we all can share with each other and with our patients. I went into this studying and understanding nutrition better, because if one of the most common reasons for cough is acid reflux, nutrition and diet should be part of what I learn and what I should teach my patients. Not just prescribing medications. I think we got into this habit in this incredible, beautiful country. We got into the habit in medicine that people go to the doctor and they need a medication. And that is not right. And this is something that we all need to work together. We need to teach our patients and we need to teach everybody that many times we don't need anything. We just need a change in habits or change in routines. And we will fix the symptoms that they're interfering with our life. So that's the reason I went and studied a lot about nutrition, a lot about diet, and one of the things that I usually recommend my patients are those shakes, because there's a lot of studies done on them. Early in the morning, you are putting together many of the green leaf vegetables that you need, and you put some flax seeds in there. You get the right natural cholesterols that you need, the right number of vitamins, and it's so wonderful. It is energizing for the whole day, and it actually helps regulate your digestion for many people, and in the long run, acid reflux disappear, and people can come off many of these medications that we know they have dangerous side effects when we use it for a long time.
Yeah, and your article that was in the recent February issue on page 3 talks about other kinds of things. Ginger tea, and you have probiotics. I was told, we haven't discussed this, but I read something that I should really have prebiotics rather than probiotics. Is that true?
Well, we need both. What happens is that probiotics is just a bunch of bacteria that we normally have in our intestine, but the way that we have been eating for the last 50 to 80 years and the way that those vegetables and primarily proteins get to our table, it is by farming them using antibiotics, using hormones. And I got to tell you, I'm so happy when I go to the grocery and I see now a good trend in changing those. But for the last 50, 80 years, we've been growing those with a lot of antibiotics and hormones, and those get into our body and they kill this population of bacteria that we need to have in our intestine. Now, these bacteria in the intestine, they are responsible for regulating our defense mechanism, and they are responsible for the first initiating action against our body when we develop many of the inflammatory process that we have. But those bacteria, they need food for them to survive in the intestine. So the bacteria, we call it probiotics because it's a population of those bacteria. And the prebiotic is the right amount, the right food that those bacteria need to continue to repopulate in there. If we drink a capsule of probiotic, which is really good, and we have a diet that does not have the green leaves, doesn't have other nutrients, those bacteria eventually will pass through the intestine, and in a matter of days, they will disappear. But if they get the appropriate nutrients, they continue to repopulate and rebuild this kind of first line of defense that we have in the intestine.
Yeah, and that's what I think. You're so good at this, and maybe it was your being living in Cuba at an early age, because we knew that they didn't have the means to have all the medications that we had here. But you're eating lots of fruits and vegetables is wonderful, and the green smoothie that you have there. So I do get the kale and I get the spinach and put in it. And you're right. When I get finished with that, and it's gorgeous, of course, it's purple and it's a beautiful look, I feel so, I always have a lot of energy, but somehow I don't even think that I've missed lunch because I have a big glass. I actually have 2, whatever it makes, I drink, and it's a lot. But I'm really feeling happy about it, and I'm so glad that you're doing well. I was thinking about something, and I don't know if we can arrange it. Unfortunately, I know people have said, well, how come Dr. Ferrer can't be at your Cure Symposium? It's because he's going to be away. But we're going to catch him the next time. So we have a great Cure Symposium coming up. But Dr. Ferrer will be, I think you're on a big, I forget where you're going in March that you can't do this, but I'm sure you're going to go and have fun. So that's good. But I was thinking, Dr. Ferrer, maybe what we should be doing is putting on a seminar with you, and we'll make it like a kitchen, and we'll put all the foods, and you can describe everything, and we can make the smoothies, and we can make all those things and have it as a very fun event.
I love the idea.
I knew you would.
It's a wonderful idea. We can talk about nutrition. We can also talk about the value of some of the things that we have in the kitchen, that they are so natural healers. And we need to get to know them. We need to bring them back from history into our kitchen today. I
think, well, I don't know if you have room down in Aventura, but maybe we ought to have a 2-hour program when you get finished with it all. I know you've been working on getting it open, but I'm really thinking about that because people would storm in there. I think it would be a great show for us to do with you. Maybe bring in the television to do it too. So I think it's great. But anyway, I know, you're a man with so many things. And the other thing I do have to say, his daughter wrote this great book. And The Secret, it's called The Door. Well, I forget now. I'm sorry. Help me with the name of the book. The Secret Door.
Secret of the Clock.
The Secret of the Clock. Excuse me. It's the greatest little book. And she's only 14. Maybe she's 15 now, but she's 14. She wrote this book. We featured it in Boomer Times. And it's really not for children. It's for all of us because we all have the time constraints. And it's just beautiful. So I know you have a lot of talent there at your house. You're beautiful, Nicole. And so that's why I think why you have this happy voice all the time.
Oh, thank you, Anita. I've been blessed. I have an incredible wife, an incredible family, and we like any other family, we have problems, but we work together through them, and we are very happy. We are very blessed to be together.
Right, and so Dr. Ferrer is a special physician. If you really are looking for a pulmonologist, and we never talk about lung cancer, we never talk about things like that, and maybe we probably have a few more minutes left. How do you discover lung cancer? Someone comes to you and they're having a problem. I guess you don't know this until you actually have an MRI or something, do you?
That's right. Well, lung cancer, Anita, unfortunately is still one of the cancers that kills the largest amount of people in America, in Europe, and most developed countries, unfortunately. And there are many reasons for that. But the top reasons are that lung cancer, the most common symptoms that lung cancer produces is going to be cough, is going to be shortness of breath, and chest pain. But by the time people develop those symptoms, the mass or the cancer has grown tremendously. And when we get to diagnose it, it's kind of too late. It's way too advanced. And now, what we know today, which is a great news for people, what we know today is that we know for many years that there is an association between smoking and lung cancer. Still a one-to-one relationship, unfortunately, for people that develop cancer. Most of the lung cancer patients that we have, they're linked to smoking. Now, for people that are smokers and they have chronic cough and they have more than 20 years of smoking and they have any of those symptoms, today it is approved by every single organization to get a CT scan, a CAT scan of the chest, and it's kind of a screening test looking for earlier stages of cancer. Few years ago, about 5 years ago, a very, very large study sponsored by the National Institute of Health did a screening for many years, and the study was stopped early because the evidence were overwhelming. People with that characteristic of more than 20 years of smoking, over 50, and with any of the symptoms and a normal breathing test, they found a lot of cancer and they were cured early. So my best advice for lung cancer is today that you need to develop a relationship. If you're a smoker or you have a family that have been smoking for more than 15 years, you need to go to see a pulmonologist. You need to talk to them about it. Be open-minded. Find help to stop smoking. And by the same token, ask them about the screening. Many locations in our own group, we're going to open a lung nodule clinic where we're going to open that opportunity for patients and families. That they bring their loved ones, and we're going to do it in a CAT scan and try to take them through the process. And for that, I think many people will find solution early for cancer.
But you've also, I'm sure, heard people say, I've never smoked. How do I get lung cancer?
That is an excellent question. Still, very small percentage of people that develop cancer and they're not a smoker. Unfortunately, it's more predominant in female than male, the one that is not linked to cancer. But when we look at the overall population, Anita, we know today that probably there are some bias in the reporting, meaning we know now that there's a lot of females smoking that they are not reporting that they were smokers. So when it is kind of going a little deeper into these statistics, I think we're discovering some other things. That the truth is that we see more females smoking today. This is, for me, is a huge concern because the largest number of people smoking in America are teenagers. And it's a generation that is going to grow doing that. They're using the vaping and all this kind of things. Anything that you inhale will produce some toxic damage to the lungs.
Well, Dr. Ferrer, it's been wonderful having you on our show always, and I look forward to talking with you again. Phone number to call, please, for an appointment is 954-482-4747, 954-482-4747. Go to their website, icehealthnet.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Ferrer. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. Bye.